20 years old and I'm from Oxfordshire. This year's my 5th year in rallying. I've started in a under-17 drivers club and now I'm the youngest and only British driver in a junior world championship. My father was a driver, so I just had it always in the family and I just had to start. Every year I've been driving, I've been going up a level every year, but it's always been the same characteristic, being a front wheel drive car, but it's just been more and more power. And next year's where I think it'll be a big change and I'll go into a 4-wheel drive car. There's no speedos on the car, but it's fast enough when you're in 5th gear in the middle of a forest. My co-driver is Phil Hall. He's part of the Royal Air Force. He's been perfect. He's been really good. He's very accurate, and yeah, we get on really well together. My best achievement, I think, would be Wales Rally GB. So that's the home round in the WRC, and we won our class outright on that round. So yeah, that was the best one, I think. My favourite one would probably be Finland, but because of the jumps and you've never been on such smooth roads that are just flowing and they've just got jumps and crests, but it's always nice to do the home round GB, so I have to say that's my favourite. Came into the World Championship, when you're up against a lot of these foreign drivers that you've always been looking up to. When I came across those guys, it was, yeah, definitely felt nervous, but during a race as well, I think when I've had moments going completely sideways in a forest, and it really pushes back your confidence, but you got to keep on going. I've had a lot of close calls. I've been very lucky the last few years. But yeah, my first ever time I went into adult rallying, my first time on gravel events, I probably had the worst accident I ever had. All I was meant to do was drive like a granny, or anything like that. I was meant to go really slowly, and it was my first time in left-hand drive. So in the UK with right-hand drive, I was always moving side to side, and I didn't know, I kept on having the car in a ditch half the time, and we managed to clip a rock and we went flying off down. This is my first ever event, so this was a bit of a knock on the confidence, but yeah, that was my worst one, I think. So when I've had a big accident or a big crash, it is hard to get back into it. Best way to do it is just to get into a car. As soon as you crash, to get into a car the next week and just get in. The more you leave it, the worse it gets. I'm against, they're karting when they're 7, 8 years old, and then they're driving all the way up to when they pass their tests at 17, 18, and then they drive. I got into it quite late, so I started when I was 16 with no karting experience. I went straight into rallying because that's all I knew I wanted to do, and then the more I've done it, I've done a little bit of karting in between because it's easier for me just to go down to a track and just be racing. Because when I turned up to the World Championship, when you're doing a 4-day event and you're out there for a few weeks, it really took me back how fit you had to be. I was just so tired on the road sections on events, so I really had to step this up, and I do a lot of bike training and running, and I started to do a lot more boxing now because I didn't realise you had to be so fit to box, but you could also do doing the boxing and reactions at the same time, so you could do that in one go, so that really helps. So my favourite artist when I'm competing, I think it would have to be Royal Blood or John Newman or Segala. I've got too many. I work with John Newman and Segala because they come rallying with me, so I'll say one of those guys. get that win or a stage win, the amount of work and effort you put in to get that win, it's just addictive. And when you do it, the feeling you get after winning is something you just want to do over and over and over again. So that really motivates me whenever you taste that winning feeling. Who inspires me would be my godfather Richard Burns, who was the only English world champion. So that's always who I've been following ever since I started. If you wanted to start rallying, there's a lot of rally schools like the Forest Experience, where you can go on the same stages that I drive and drive Ford Escorts or all these original rally cars on proper stages. And that's where I learned to drive, and it's all private land, so you can be driving under 17 if you're younger, like I did. It's this brand, the amount of people who talk about it, especially when I go on events. When I was first wearing Extreme, everybody was just obsessed with it because of the people, the influencers and other athletes and the social media following they have now. It's just really, really good content, and it's just the places they go are so exotic, and it's just really good media to follow. I knew Extreme when I was really young just because it was the TV channel, but I wasn't really paying attention. It was always just on, and it had a lot of skateboarding and those kind of things on the channel. But I only fully got to know Extreme is when I saw their social media channel, and I came across a few of the downhill bike athletes, started to have it all over their helmets and kit, and I started to really follow their social media, and all the videos and content became a bit addictive. So other extreme sports I started to get into a bit of downhill biking a lot, which is just because of how terrifying it is, because my cousins also do biking, and it's also the places it takes you, the routes, and I spend a lot of time in Wales doing it, so it's really interesting. If I wasn't driving, I'd either be doing something in design, or I'll go into the video side of the sport. I like doing a lot of the videography, following the sport. I find that aspect really good, so I think that's the way I'll go. Another sporting idol I think would be Ayrton Senna, who was one of the most famous F1 drivers just because of his passion and wanting to win. He was just something else. You just saw him drive, and every time he wanted to talk or wanted to race, everyone wanted to back up because they knew he was going to win. So that's something I really wanted to follow.